Hello everyone, my name is Idiotic Synergy and today is a discussion video. Yay, I'm terrible at these, I do apologise. I am I am awful at discussions. This video might be a bit rough, but please bear with me because I want to talk to you about Chaos Custodes. Should they exist? Yes. Before you yell at me, however, I think it's important to note that Chaos Custodes should be a very, very limited thing. I don't want to see like an army-wide or like a shield host of Custodes that all of a sudden were like, yes, Khorne, you're the best, because it wouldn't make sense. I think with Chaos Custodes, they could exist, but it's important to note that one of their strongest strengths, that's a redundant sentence, but one of their biggest strengths, I should say, is that they are incorruptible in mind, body, and soul. They are like the Emperor's best weapons. I nearly said sons, but then again, I remember that Sanguinius used to exist, and unfortunately, Sanguinius got murdered by Horus, of all people. I mean, how do you get murdered by Horus? Seriously. Oh, it could be worse. Could be Farius Manius. He got killed by Fulgrim. Fulgrim. Anyway, despite that, despite the fact they are incorruptible, they just wouldn't fall to chaos because they are that strong of like mind, body, and soul. I think it would be just daft of us to ignore the fact that Fabius Bile has a custody that he killed. If you remember, hopefully the video is playing now, but if you remember, there was a trailer for Psychic Awakening where Fulgrim has in his possession a dead custody. Now, it is very in character for Fabius Bile to just jam up that custody with all manner of random bullshit. That's the technical term of his experiments. Just random bullshit ahoy. Now, the custody that used to be is long gone. It's dead. However, whatever replaces that custody inside the shell that used to be the custody would be one of Fabius Bile's experiments. And that's how you would get Chaos Custodes. Because no matter what, it is very in character for Fabius Bile to show off his creations like that. Because Fabius Bile is incredibly petty. And he is very vain. And he would just go, yes, look at me, I'm the best. I have a custody that I have. Aren't I wonderful? And yeah, he would just love that. However, I would like to see that as a unit, like one or two, like the bodyguards of Fabius Bile or something. However, it wouldn't happen. But if all of a sudden Fabius Bile managed to kill or managed to gather an entire army of Custodes, that would be a bit too far. Because Fabius Bile has one gigantic flaw, and that is he is dying. Bear with me, I know that flaw applies to most things in Warhammer, but with Fabius Bile, every time he dies, he's a clone of himself. And that clone dies faster than his previous iteration. So he just keeps making clones that are worse and worse and worse and worse. And it wouldn't make sense for Fabius Bile, the frail old man that he is, to all of a sudden possess such strength and tactical readiness to just wipe out a bunch of Custodes. I think he could manage one or two, but that's it. And it would be cool to see that Fabius Bile, with the Custodes, didn't waste it. It would be really cool to see. Imagine like a bunch of mutants, but with the Custodes strain, or just something where it's like Chaos Custodes, but not. Another way you could get Chaos Custodes. Now, this one won't happen at all. This is a purely what if, but it would have made sense for Horus to have a small retinue of Custodes with him when he was named War Master. That would have made sense if the Emperor just gave Horus some Custodes to act as his personal bodyguards, because the Emperor was worried about his son's safety. Obviously, the Emperor is a massive shit dad, but it would still make sense for the Emperor to be like, look, you're War Master now, and one of the responsibilities of being War Master is that if anything happens to me, then you need to know how to control the Custodes if anything happens to me. So here's a small squad, with them what you will, and, just be a good leader, or, something to that effect. I don't know, I'm not I'm not a great writer, but it would make sense that during the fall of Horus, that the Custodes that the Emperor gave Horus would also fall. But obviously this is a massive what if, and that of course hasn't happened, because I say it hasn't happened, but then I remember the amount of retconning there is in the Horus Heresy. It's a lot. It's a lot of bullshit. Oh, but it would be kind of cool to see, like, some 30k era Chaos Custodes. Though, would it actually be cool? Because one hand, yeah, it'd be really interesting to see, but on the other, it would just feel like a cop-out in so many ways. Now, with that being said, I mentioned one scenario where Chaos Custodes could exist, Fabius Bile and his wonderful creations. Another scenario where if the Emperor gave Horus some of his Custodes, and during the fall of Horus, the Custodes that were just loyal to Horus would have also turned traitor, but that's a massive what if. Traitor Custodes. Now, for those of you that don't know, Traitor and Chaos are different. To have a Chaos is like you worship one of the big four Chaos gods. So, Death Guard Nurgle, Death Guard are a Chaos army, Thousand Suns Inch Chaos army, World Eaters Khorne, Chaos army, and Slaanesh Emperor's Children, that's a Chaos army. A Traitor army is more your Alpha Legion, your Night Lords, your Iron Warriors, where they are willing to use demons, but they are against the Imperium, and they don't really like chaos. Think of it as Talos from the Night Lords trilogy, where he hates the Imperium, but he doesn't really like chaos either. He hates both sides. And that would be your traitors. And it would make sense for there to be a couple of traitor Custodes. Maybe even a shield host worth of traitor Custodes. And how I think this would be possible is that if the Custodes thought that the Terminus Decree was a massive, just the worst thing. That's such bad wording. If the traitor Custodes in question for this weird scenario thought that the Terminus Decree was like the highest of all heresy, so they go over to the Grey Knights and start killing Grey Knights, and this being the Imperium and communication being fucked, those Custodes ironically would have been called heretical by the Inquisition. So that's how you would get your traitor Custodes if there was a bunch of Custodes that attempted to just kill a bunch of Grey Knights for the Terminus Decree. Though my knowledge on the Terminus Decree is very limited. unfortunately, but it's an interesting thing. Basically, the Terminus Decree is the giant off switch for the Emperor. You pull the plug on the Emperor, he dies, and it's like the last resort. But it would make sense that the Custodes would at least hear about this, and for some of them to take it a lot further. Like, you dare suggest that the Emperor should die, you instead will die. I can't write for shit, so that would probably be like the worst wording of all time. You said the Emperor should die, so you will die. Great one, Steve. I know, right, Dave? But it would make sense for there to be a traitor shield host where they look at the Grey Knights and go, yeah, no, you're traitors. Our job is to protect the Emperor at, like, any means necessary. I think the way I would think of these traitor Custodes would be how the Redemptionists and Necromunda are considered criminals, even though they worship the Emperor, because they go a little too far. I should make a video talking about the Redemptionists. How have I not done a lore video on the Redemptionists? They are such an interesting part of House Cawdor. Oh, there's another video brewing in my head. But then again, this one might be the worst thing ever. So I probably might not do another discussion video. I'm terrible at these, I know I am. But yeah, traitor Custodes, where they just take things too far and start murdering Grey Knights. Or you could have traitor Custodes that are in repentance, where they take their martyrdom way too far because they failed at protecting the Emperor. And the way they want to repent is through bloodshed or some sort of sacrifice that causes the death of millions. It doesn't have to be as drastic as that, but you could easily make the case for traitor Custodes. Not so much with Chaos, because Chaos is something different entirely. Traitors I can sort of see happen. Chaos not really, because they are that powerful. And also Sisters of Silence are blanks. Yeah, I think. Oh god, I can't. Yes, they are. They are blanks. They turn off psychic powers. They are just the worst thing. They are. I love Sisters of Silence. Weirdly enough, their kits, the Sisters of Silent kits, are better than the regular Custody ones. If you want to have a bunch of Sisters of Silence, get a huge squad of Flamers and a huge squad of Swords, and just let them sort it out, because you can deep strike them. You pay 1 command point to deep strike them, and you can deep strike the Flamers, or you can deep strike the Swords. The Swords is a bit more risky, however, they are surprisingly very powerful. The Flamers, again, are very nice to use, and also you can just set things on fire with Flamers. Anyway, I think that's where I'm going to end it. Basically, too long, if you just skip to the end, I don't blame you, but my opinion on should Chaos Custodes exist? No, but should Traitor well, yes. I said yes at the start, and I still think yes. Why did it say no? Oh, because I don't think there should be a huge army of them. I think Chaos Custodes, like 1 or 2, fine. Traitor Custodes could be a very interesting concept. Could be a really interesting concept if fleshed out. Because even though they are, like, again, the best of the best, they could also break down. Weirdly, I think they could break down, or they would see the Emperor dying and being in this not alive but not dead state as a massive failure. I can see both. I can see how Traitor Custodes could work, where they break off from the Imperium because they either blame themselves and try and martyr themselves, which causes the death of millions, or they blame the Imperium for not worshipping the Emperor enough. Either way, that would be a really interesting story. That really would have like a subsect of Custodes that blames the Imperium for the Emperor's death. They obviously blame Chaos, but they blame the Imperium for not fighting enough. That could be interesting. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you like this video, then good for you. Then thanks. I was about to say good for you, but then again, I'm terrible at this. And if you want me to do more discussion type videos, please let me know. Yeah, I want to do something more than just looking at models and going, ooh, ain't that nice? And I think discussion videos are a way forward. I would do painting videos, but I ain't got the resources to. So that's fun. But anyway, I've been Idiotic Synergy. Take care, stay safe, and look after each other. Bye for now.